Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
All right, well, today we're heading to the Golden State, California politics.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, you sent over a pretty fascinating set of sources. We've got press releases, updates straight from the governor's website, even a weekly bulletin from his office.
Wow, that's quite the collection.
It is. Looks like we're covering December 2nd through the 7th, so pretty recent stuff.
Hot off the presses.
Literally. So where do we even begin?
Well, I mean, it's a lot to unpack. We've got everything from border issues to a major earthquake that hit Northern California.
Oh man, that earthquake. Yeah, let's start with that border news first though. Governor Newsom is pushing for some new construction at one of the California-Mexico border crossings.
Okay.
Seems like the goal is to, well, improve trade flow and also try to cut down those crazy wait times. He's really emphasizing the benefits for families and businesses.
Yeah, I mean, improving infrastructure at these border crossings, it's a strategy we see a lot. You know, a lot of border regions are trying to do this kind of thing these days, boost those cross-border economic partnerships.
Makes sense.
And upgrading these key entry points can have a huge impact. I mean, it's not just about easing border crossings. It really affects the bigger picture, the economy.
So we're talking like trade volume, efficiency, things like that.
Exactly. It trickles down to prices for consumers, how well businesses can succeed.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just about getting across the border faster, it's about the economics of it all.
Exactly. And what's interesting here is that this push for better trade, it's happening at the same time as all this news about increased border security.
Oh, interesting.
So you can see how tricky it is.
Yeah.
Trying to find that right balance.
Yeah.
Promote economic growth, but also keep things safe and secure.
It's a tough needle to thread.
Absolutely.
Speaking of safety, though, we can't ignore that earthquake. Magnitude 7.0 in Northern California. I can't even imagine. Governor Newsom declared a state of emergency for Del Norte, Humboldt, and Mendocino counties.
Wow.
What happens when a state of emergency is declared in a situation like this?
Well, I mean, a 7.0 earthquake is serious. You're talking potentially massive damage to infrastructure. And of course, public safety is at risk. So declaring a state of emergency, it basically lets the governor cut through red tape,
Okay.
get resources to where they're needed fast.
Oh, okay.
It also sends a signal to the federal government, like, hey, we might need some extra help here.
Right, to deal with the aftermath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like activating a special mode for the government, like disaster response mode.
Gotcha. So it's about getting things moving quickly.
Yeah.
And potentially getting help from the feds.
Exactly.
Okay, now shifting gears a bit. The California Highway Patrol has been running this huge operation in Bakersfield since April. And the results are kind of mind-blowing. Over 2,000 arrests. And they've taken over 60 illegal firearms off the streets. What kind of long-term impact do these kinds of operations actually have on crime?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not always a simple answer. I mean, a lot of arrests might sound impressive at first, but the real test is whether it actually makes the community safer over time.
Right.
So does it really stop future crime? Or are we just dealing with the symptoms and not the actual root causes? Those are the tough questions that, researchers and policymakers are trying to figure out.
It's definitely complicated.
It is.
Okay, now, something that I found really interesting is this news about Care Court.
Oh, yeah.
It's a program to help people struggling with schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. And it focuses on getting them treatment and stable housing. And get this, it's now operational in all 58 California counties.
That's a huge milestone.
It really is. What are your thoughts on this program?
Well, it's definitely a significant development. It's been pretty controversial, though. Yeah, you have people who think it's amazing. They say it's exactly what we need to help these folks in our communities. But then you have others who are concerned,
About?
Well, some worry about the potential for coercion. Are people being forced into treatment?
Oh, I see.
And then there are those who question if it'll really work in the long run.
Right.
So now that it's fully implemented statewide,
Yeah.
it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out, what the data tells us, and how that shapes future policy decisions.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be watching this one closely. Now, on a bit of a lighter note, the California Hall of Fame inductions are coming up, and they're doing something really unique this year.
Oh.
They're inducting an entirely posthumous class.